Okay, so again, bear with me as I stated in the previous video. My dizziness has returned. I don't know if it's the allergies, like it's a flash flood outside. I don't know if it's the allergies because of the nonstop weather every day going on right now. Hopefully that's all it is, and I can try some allergy medications. Don't know. But yeah, dizziness has returned, and also I don't know if I can upload it. That's why I didn't upload it this past week. But I actually was rushing downstairs to get some food. I hit my head on my door, and it was bleeding, and it was my whole eye just got swollen. So I was dealing with that this week as well. That's why it's still a little black here on the sides and things like that. So still a little dizzy here. That's why I haven't been on uploading the past few days on this game channel here. So, but I wanted to check this out. So bear with me. Sailor Moon is back. It starts tomorrow, May 31st, 2024. They're calling it Toonami Rewind. So this Toonami Rewind is a promo. I actually saw this while I was watching um, the new Superman adventure show that comes on Saturday nights on Adult Swim. Unfortunately, as I was watching the Superman show, that's when all the tornadoes and everything were coming through here and everything. Like a few miles north of me, there's a tornado. So I couldn't even focus on that. I think I missed the second episode a little bit. I was trying to watch it, but then the tornado thing was going on. So and but yeah, that's when I saw this. I guess this last weekend is right. Yeah, that's around the dizziness started. So it could be the storms right now. But I saw this commercial. I just happened to see it in between all the tornadoes. I was like, holy crap, blew my mind. Sailor Moon's back. So let me watch this and then I'll talk a
We
little.
have to interrupt this program to
Um,
bring you some breaking news.
Back in the day, Toonami was your after-school vibe.
After school vibes. See, they're telling you,
Now we're
dude.
taking you back. Toonami Rewind premieres
Toonami
May
Rewind.
31st at 5 p.m.
So
If you squint really hard, they almost look new.
I'm so glad to be alive.
Only on Adult Swim.
that's very interesting to me that they're saying 5 p.m. And why is that? That's Central Time. Remember back then, they used to do it based on Eastern Time. But what's crazy is that, which I don't, now that I'm in the animation field and working in games and things like that, Cartoon Network, there's actually one based in. I applied there actually a few days ago. There's one based in the one in L.A. in Los Angeles, but I think the main one's actually in Atlanta, and I did not know that as a kid growing up watching these shows. So, what am I most exhilarated about here? I'm most excited about Sailor Moon. But yeah, it'll be starting at 5 p.m. Central. They didn't point out Eastern Time. Take note of that. It's very because I'm in Central Time, but I've always known it as, oh, they point Eastern Time, and then you have to like calculate and everything, when you're gonna watch and things like that. So I think it used to be Eastern one. I don't think it was West. I'm pretty sure it was Eastern. Because usually would have been like even like 5 p.m. would have meant like 4 p.m. here, but they're not doing it. They're saying 5 p.m. And I looked it up on my TV today. So Sailor Moon is coming on 5 p.m. Central Time. It starts tomorrow, episode one. And then they're showing two episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai. And then they're starting with Naruto, the original Naruto. Now, discussion time. Well, I got the fan on. Got two water balls here. So, I'm most excited about Sailor Moon. What am I not thrilled about? I'm not thrilled about Dragon Ball Z Kai, and I'm not thrilled about Naruto. Um, First, Dragon Ball Z Kai. Um, I don't like it. I hate Deep Z Kai. I think it's a disgrace to the original. I know there's gonna be a lot of disagreements with me. I don't care. It's just, I'm telling you, I grew up with the original Dragon Ball Z. You know, the whole Funimation, Ocean Dub, the way it aired on Cartoon Network back then. I still have lots of episodes and scenes recorded on VHS, VCR tapes. DBZ Kai, first thing, obviously, they removed Bruce Falconer music. I think Bruce Falconer production and the team, that was absolutely the best soundtrack for the English dub version of Dragon Ball Z. Don't care what anyone else thinks. Now, the Japanese version, that's how the Japanese saw it, right? That's how they saw it. With the soundtrack, Shun was Shinosuke, I forget his name. So, look it up. Um, yeah, I guess I was looking at Sailor Moon here. Just to be. I forget yeah, I said it, Shunsuke. So, um, that's how the Japanese watch it. That's how the kids watch it. And that's completely fine. But as for the English version, when it was booming in the United States, the American version, Bruce Falconer was absolutely the best version. Not only that, that's first and second thing. DBZ Kai removes the legendary lines, and I'm explaining this mostly for the newer generation of kids. Honestly, you know, I say anyone, and I'm bringing this up again, anyone who was born like, I really want to say, if you were born 1999 to like 2002, and of course 2001 was, WTC, right? When the attack happened. 1999 to 2002, and if you were born any of those years and after, you may not understand what I'm talking about. You sort of missed out. And then that's when the Naruto generations, because Naruto started to become known and popular. That was 2005, 2006, 2007. I know because I was in high school. I saw the boom of everything. So I saw when everything was starting. But right before those years, that's when Dragon Ball Z and these shows were still booming. And so that's what I'm talking about. This is why I don't like Dragon Ball Z Kai. Because if you didn't grow up with the original, you're really not going to understand. You maybe like DBZ Kai. So Bruce Falconer's soundtrack has to be there. DBZ Kai has removed a lot of the legendary lines. So when Vegeta first transforms into a Super Saiyan against Android 19, he says, "Tell me, has a machine such as yourself ever experienced fear?" He powers up. The Super Saiyan theme turns on. Bruce Falcon. I listen to that thing while I'm jogging at the park, exercising and working out. I still listen to it. Um, and that's part of what made Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball Z. No one's going to remember Dragon Ball Z Kai's legendary moments. You just not. Um, so you had that soundtrack. They removed the lines. The other thing I don't like is they removed a lot of the filler scenes and seasons. All of that made Dragon Ball Z back then. And the only ones who complained about it are the hardcore fans of Dragon Ball Z. That's it. They were complaining so many years. You see, they complained about Broly being more powerful than Gohan because they didn't like it. So, super hardcore Gohan fans out there. And then you have people always complaining about what's filler and what's canon. The crazy thing is growing up watching the original Toonami and Cartoon Network back then as a kid, kids weren't talking about filler and canon. Maybe if you were in like college years or something, right? Maybe they were talking about it. I wasn't at the time. Um, no one was complaining about what's filler and what's canon. That really wasn't until the internet, like everything on the internet started booming, right? when things started to really get out on the internet. Internet was still even new back then. So this was dial-up internet. But the whole filler versus canon that has honestly ruined anime and manga in general, in my opinion. Like there's like this perpetual state of conflict that's always been in Dragon Ball Z and anime in general. Anime, that's what I'm saying, anime, manga. So they removed it all from DBZ Kai, and it's crazy. Like I think I even read somewhere. Now I haven't seen all of DBZ Kai, but I read somewhere like when Vegeta blasted the meteor when he was training to become a Super Saiyan, right? He blasted that meteor, right? He destroyed a huge asteroid. Like scenes like that have been removed, if I'm not mistaken. When Krillin and Piccolo, and I just watched the past. I've been watching the past few weeks on Saturday nights. I do watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. I don't like it, but I tolerate it. And I watched it, and I think they actually did remove. There's a crazy scene where Krillin and Piccolo they use the multiform techniques and create duplicates of themselves, which Naruto copied off of and created, Shadow Clone Jutsu, right? So Krillin and Piccolo created duplicates, using the multiform, Tien's multiform technique. And then they're just going at it with Nap, and Nap is just like dodging and fighting. Like they remove legendary scenes like that. DBZ Kai's removed the legendary lines, like I said, like when Goku says "You fool" and blast Frieza. I'm pretty sure that's removed. Um, Recently Crunchyroll, I think it was Crunchyroll or Viz Media, they uploaded a clip of when Kakarot first transformed into a Super Saiyan. There's no Bruce Falconer music. I said I immediately clicked off. Within the first 2 seconds, I couldn't watch it. Absolutely terrible. So something else I want to say about it, but if you, I'm guaranteed, if you take a group of people, let's say 10 to 20 people, you put them in a room, have them watch Kakarot or Goku's transformation, for the first time as a Super Saiyan, and then have them watch Vegeta's first time transformation as a Super Saiyan, and then even have them watch some of the fillers and like the beginning of ends, like okay, and they're gonna be like, "Where's all this? Why is it not in DBZ Kai?" Have them watch both DBZ Kai version and the original Dragon Ball Z that aired on Cartoon Network and Toonami. I guarantee most people are going to choose the original version that aired on TV. Um, there's just a lot of context, a lot of legendary moments are missing in DBZ Kai. So, I'm just pointing that out. They're not showing the original Dragon Ball Z. That's disappointing. Um, Naruto. Oh boy. Before the Naruto's came along. Anyway, when Naruto came to the original Toonami, Toonami died. There you go. So, I'm excited about Sailor Moon. Um, Finally getting to Sailor Moon here. So, Sailor Moon was one of the big shows. It was one of the big anime shows that came to the U.S. and it was booming in the U.S. in the '90s, in the late '90s, mid to late '90s, early 2000s, right? Sailor Moon was up there, and I'll put it up there with those shows, right? And if you grew up as a '90s kid, you know what I'm talking about. So, Toonami back in the day, the first shows, Dragon Ball Z, the biggest one. These are not really any order except for Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was like the leader of it all, and then you had Sailor Moon, obviously. Uh, Not necessarily on Toonami, but Pokemon. I think it wasn't Toonami a few times, but Pokemon. That's one of the big ones. Mobile Suit Gundam. Specifically Gundam Wing Zero, and then there's a show called G Gundam. Now Gundam Wing Zero was sort of that main Toonami anime, and I never forget it in the promos. Doom 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 doom. They were using that song for that. Um, So just Gundam in general. Gundam is one of Japan's legendary anime of the 90s, 80s. Um, right. Outside of that, I guess you could say Digimon. Say Digimon. But yeah, those were like, and then after that you get into like the legendary show Yu Yu Hakusho, Cyborg 009, Ronin Warriors, look that up if you don't know it. Tenchi Muyo, and then all these amazing shows start coming in. Ronin Kenshin. I think that's coming back or something. So, Zoids later on. Uh, there's a card capture soccer. I didn't really watch it, but all these amazing legendary anime. But Sailor Moon, I put it up there with people talk about the big three anime now: Bleach, One Piece, Naruto. You know, then obviously Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball being the leader of it. Sailor Moon was part of the big three, big four anime back then. This is before One Piece existed, in my opinion. And the crazy thing is I think this was this was one of the primary. What am I trying to say? This was one of the best shows at the time that portrayed powerful female character roles that wasn't pushed in everyone's faces. Let me say that. It was it was natural. It was Japanese anime cartoon. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure that it was mostly boys who were watching it. Everyone was singing along to the song and everything. I was looking up the song. You know, she will never turn her back on her friends. Right here. She is always there to defend. She is the one who we can defend. She is the one named Sailor. Sailor Venus. Sailor Mercury. Sailor Mars. Sailor Jupiter. Yeah, so everyone was singing that. All the kids were singing that song back then. So kids were singing that song, right? Kids were singing Rock the Dragon, Dragon Ball Z song. Kids were singing the Pokemon theme song back then. These are legendary animated shows. That's what I'm explaining it. Like this, it's all stuck in my head. This soundtrack has always been in my head, along with Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon song. Right? People were singing the Power Rangers song. Now, and what I'm saying is like, I'm only saying it's mostly boys I think who are watching at the time because I don't know what the girls are watching. In fact, girls back then would like tease and pick on boys for watching Dragon Ball Z anime, Power Rangers, anything related. It wasn't until my later high school years and early college years that I even learned because I had met some girls. I went to an art school. That I even learned that girls were even watching anime back then because they were the ones picking on boys and stuff, or at least in my area, in the city I lived in. So that was like, right? That blew my mind because I didn't even realize that. Yeah, they were watching Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball and everything back then. Girls were. I didn't know that. As a kid. So all I knew in the neighborhood was like, you know, like me. I used to like when I was a kid. I used to pretend like Sailor Mars was my girlfriend, like fantasy girlfriend when I was a kid. And there was a guy in the neighborhood. There's a little kid. There was a boy, and he used to, and everyone would laugh in the neighborhood, but he would pretend that he had a brother too, tall brother. He would he would pretend that he used to sing the Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff, and I don't know if he had a toy, but he used to pretend he was like kissing Jigglypuff from Pokemon. Kids, I don't know. So I remember that vaguely, that in the neighborhood before everyone stole from me and all that crap. Um, but yeah, so Sailor Moon, it was up there. That's why I'm excited for this. I'm even thinking about like cooking dinner for it tomorrow, man. Like Adult Swim on Saturday nights has the lineup for the past few months has been terrible, absolutely terrible. Like I know people like One Piece, but I never got into it. I don't care to see it. Um, the line like so they're showing us from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So again, 4 episodes, and I one Sailor Moon, 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai, and then they're showing the original Naruto from the beginning. I don't think they should show Naruto, and I think they show Dragon Ball Z. They should show the original Dragon Ball Z that aired on TV. Obviously, they're not, because terrible DBZ Kai has taken over. I honestly think they need to remove Naruto and put Ronin Warriors or Yu Yu Hakusho. 90s kids, I'm pretty sure agrees with me there. Cause and I know it's a long video, but I've said this before. Like there was a golden era. There's a timeline that I always say. The late '80s, probably late '80s, but I'll say early '90s through like 2004, 2005 was a legendary time for some of the best anime, cartoons in general, and video games. They don't make games like they do anymore compared to back then. The animes are just not as good as they were back. And like you see all the grit in the animes and everything. Like I like the '90s style better than I like today's style, in my opinion. I can't explain it. Look how the debris is flying off. And if you look at the characters' faces, like you would see, you see the lines in the faces, like, and it looks more drawn. Today, everything looks so smooth. Like it was when Naruto came in. When Naruto came in, everything's like this smooth coloring and shading, and that was a newer style. I just didn't really like it. Um, Recently, anime has picked up Demon Slayer, Sword Art Online. Some pretty good anime have picked up recently, but there was a whole timeline and era, like that whole era where like all of this '90s style was missing, and I really liked it back then, the '90s style. So like even look at her crease above her eyebrows. Like if you look at the ones today, where my cursor is, it would be like a smooth line that doesn't look drawn out, if that makes sense to you. But the newer anime don't necessarily look like that, if that makes sense. But see, everything's like smooth. I like it's just missing something. But yeah, Sailor Moon's back. Um, so yeah, I'll be singing the theme song tomorrow. Obviously, I'm not gonna do a reaction video. I'm just gonna sit down, pretend to be a kid again. I probably will cook dinner. Well, I gotta go to doctor's appointments. There's a lot going on right now. Applying for jobs. But yeah, I applied to Cartoon Network. I need to contact someone I know who worked there. He was one of the Pixar interns. I may contact him, see if he knows anything on the inside. But yeah, he worked there after he left Pixar internship. Then all the crazy layoffs happening right now. It's insane. But for the most part, that's all I have, right? Um, it was originally serialized. Look at this, 1997, 1991, 1997. It's crazy. The original run, 1992, 1997. That's insane. Um, then they had the R and the S, and yeah, so it's still going. Again, the legendary animes and shows that I pointed out, they're still going. I'm completely behind. But if you pay attention, you got Sailor Moon Eternal. I don't know what any of all this is. Oh, it's a film. I might check these out. I might check these out, man. Yeah. If it's not 90s, like so the Sailor Moon Crystal basically is what it is, it looks like. I don't know anything about Sailor Moon Crystal. I just know the original. That would be cool if they showed Sailor Moon Crystal on this rewind. But one of us on Netflix, Sailor Moon Crystal. I might check it out. Could do reaction videos, but anime reaction videos just take up a lot. Honestly, stressful. So they have 3 seasons in the movie. So again, Sailor Moon's still sort of going. Well, it looks like it sort of came to an end here. But Sailor Moon's still going. Gundam's still going. Pokemon, I'm behind on Pokemon. Dude, I was behind after like fifth generation, like Pokemon X, Y, and the Moon and Crystal. I haven't seen any of those. X, Y, Z, and like, I haven't seen any of the new Pokemon. Completely behind. But yeah, I used to play the games and everything on Game Boy and Nintendo 64. I still have Pokemon Stadium too, for those who are aware of that. That was a popular 3D Pokemon game, Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2. Uh, I still have that. Digimon, I think, is still all the like. There's new Digimon films. All of those, pay attention. All those anime I mentioned earlier, if you go and you look at them up now, they still have new episodes and films that are being released because they're the OG legendary shows. And in my opinion, the newer anime, Naruto, One Piece, like even Bleach, those shows will never be as popular as those anime that sort of, they sort of led the way when everything was booming and coming over to the U.S. Like I said, and just one last thing, like I know this is good that they bring this back, but the original Toonami was Monday through Friday. It was 2:30, 3 p.m., and it went to like 6 to like 6:30 p.m. Nonstop anime, and around the time like Code Lyoko was on, that's when it started to sort of die down. And then Naruto came in, and then boom, dead. But that was the time, and every day kids would you come back from school, sit down. Maybe you try to get homework out of the way so you wouldn't get out in trouble, but you sit down and watch Toonami, man. The worst feeling was not being able to watch Toonami as a kid. Like if you had homework or something else. I still remember when Trunks turned to a Super Saiyan for the first time against Frieza. I was eating like ramen noodles, I think. These moments kids will not have for Dragon Ball Z Kai. I'm telling you right now. Um, so, Toonami Rewind starts tomorrow, Friday, 5 p.m. But yeah, I'm excited for Sailor Moon, and just want to talk about what it was like back then. Again, and the cartoons animated today are not as good as they were back then. I repeat that. So if you weren't alive during that time, you sort of missed out on it. It is what it is, just how it is today. In my opinion, if anyone disagrees, let me know. But I do not think that like everything, and then like social media came on, and more the internet, so everything's more online now rather than just sitting down watching on a big screen TV or you're watching it with like other kids in the neighborhood or whatever. It's not really like that anymore. So, so even just the social aspect and impact of it all back then as well. That's all I have. So hopefully they bring back some other of the like I said, Yu Hakusho, the other legendary anime that I mentioned. But Sailor Moon's back, man. So that's a start. That's the best anime on right now for me. Like in terms of like television, what's going on at Sailor Moon. It's crazy. I remember when I stayed at the Airbnb in Inglewood, California, in May 2023. Went out there that week. The TV, it was a smart house. It was weird, and the TV was confusing to work. But they had like anime channels, and like over here on the side, they had like season one Inuyasha was on. It was in Japanese subtitles, because I grew up watching the English dub version. But they had that on. They were showing like Ronin Warriors was on one day, and that was like, and then the Friday before is when I was laid off at Deck Nine Games, and then the following week. And my dizziness had slowed down. I was in California just chilling, laying back on the bed. I was feeling good. Dizziness and everything slowed down and reduced. And I just felt like a kid again, watching the original anime that I grew up watching back in those days, legendary days. So I'll see you.